Ah, the good old PlayStation logo.
Yeah,
The
sorry.
PlayStation 2 logo was better.
Oh, sorry.
Everyone hate me.
You're just mad because I lied about it, saying it was Kingdom Hearts 2.
I hate you.
Oh yeah, we're playing Megaman X4 for PlayStation.
X4.
Yep, which was mostly for PlayStation because no one really bought a Saturn.
Yeah.
And we
Look
have
at the graphics.
we have full FMV, full motion video because of the CD technology and 90's anime cutscenes.
That's right.
It's so glorious.
Yeah, I know. It is just uber awesome.
No, what it is because if you have the original disc and case like I do, it even states it that it had anime cutscenes in the game.
Oh yeah, Tristan's so schmancy, he can afford his original case and disc and...
Like $15.
Yeah, well, if I had $15, I would buy a sandwich.
$15?
Wow, that would be a very expensive sandwich then.
Nah, I'd buy like 3 sandwiches. Actually, like 2 sandwiches from Subway because it's like $8 to get a single sandwich.
Yeah, but yeah, you have this. The presentation is really good, except that this was 1997 and there wasn't really a really good track record of dubbed anime at this time.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, even with, Mega Man, this was when the Mega Man series was starting to wane down on its popularity. X4, while it was a pretty decent game, it wasn't as good as its predecessors. Yeah. And also, it was the same year that Mega Man 8 came out in honor of Mega Man's 10th anniversary.
Yeah, and now Capcom just hates Mega Man. Capcom is essentially Harry Potter.
Well, that
what?
Is...
Yeah,
what does that mean?
They throw him in the cupboard underneath the stair.
Okay, I get what you're saying about it. Is that they abuse them by telling them you're gonna do something and then nope, go back go back to the curve where you belong.
All right.
Well, yeah, this is the first one we have where we get to pick between X and Zero. I know in 3.
Zero's the greatest character ever.
Well, technically, yeah, he's the better character overall because has a more interesting backstory, as we will see. And this is what we were talking about when you said he should have made his own Mega Man.
Who are you?
Wow, Dr. Wily.
Yep.
Ah, frickin'
yeah, it's Dr. Wily.
I hate you.
Hey, Dr. Wily needs something from you, Nick.
Yeah, you probably need some of those sandwiches.
Now go. Destroy him. That's an order.
Yeah, it is. I like it when they gave hints like this, but it really never really picked this up after, was it 5? Yeah.
Probably 5.
Yeah, you only get this in 4 and 5, and never really picked up after that.
Yeah, that's another thing about the series. I mean, after Keiji Inafune was pretty much done with it in Mega Man X5, they tried to continue the story with X6, X7, and X8, and oh man,
and the crappy DS titles.
It just became such a huge mess that the X series just couldn't pick itself back up.
Yeah, because basically X6 is a downfall because Keiji Inafune didn't have anything to do with X6. He wanted it to end at X5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey Tristan.
Huh.
You know what Keiji Inafune does want to do something with?
What?
Mighty Number 9?
Exactly, and that game's gonna be epic.
Yeah.
Of course it is. I'm glad that you actually agree with us.
Yeah, because I saw the gameplay and it looks so tight and awesome, and
because it borrows, from what I've seen, it borrows concepts from Mega Man and the X series.
Which is
and it's gonna
really
be
cool.
And it's gonna be on next gen and in 1080, 60 frames per second. Ooh.
And when we hopefully have the chance to buy it, we will upload it and record it and do commentary.
No, don't worry. I do. Yeah, I was one of the ones who actually pledged when it happened.
Dude, I ain't got no money to pledge.
I did. I'm also getting a hardcover, the strategy guide with a signature by Keiji Inafune himself.
Ooh, Tristan, you are lucky.
Yep.
How much did you spend for that?
$250. You get that and a whole lot.
That's a pretty good deal.
No, you get that and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yo, for $75, I can play WoW with some awesome people. But again, no one plays World of Warcraft.
Why would they when there's so many other MMORPGs to play?
This is Magma Dragoon who went Maverick because we'll find out later his reasoning.
I don't understand the story of the X series.
It's a really long story.
We'll try to make it short. While this is basically a pathetic boss fight. Basically, this takes place.
The carnage. It's horrible.
Yeah, it takes place technically 30 years after the original series, where Dr. Light makes X, but is unsure if X can make the right decisions and not go against the law of robotics because he's the first robot to have free will.
Yeah, but
and Dr. Light wanted to make sure of that, but he knew that he wasn't gonna be alive to see X have completed his full diagnostics test, so he locked him inside his cap for 50 years until another scientist found him and found the schematics for X and basically made this time's robots, which are Reploids, which are basically copies of X because they have their own free will too. But
and they're called Mavericks.
No,
Mavericks are the animal. They're the animal creatures that are the bad guys.
Smart.
Sorry, Mavericks are the X equivalent of Robot Masters, except for they're animals.
Yeah, it's just we'll get to it towards the end, but I don't want to spoil it. But the Maverick thing has something to do with Zero, but we don't get to that to the end. But that's basically what it is.
Yeah, but can I just say Zero looks awesome? He has a 90's mullet. And he's wearing red armor.
Because he was designed by Kenji Inafune himself, so...
Yeah, and
exactly.
it's freaking metal.
Zero was supposed to be the character that Keiji Inafune wanted to do the series on after Mega Man X became like a concept, but Capcom would not allow him to do that, so he had Zero as a side character, and he created X, and then it wasn't until much later in which Zero would become his own character in the Mega Man Zero series.
Yeah, and then frickin' it turned out that X was a little bitch, and Zero is the greatest character ever.
Well, basically, you can say that because the reason why people like X4, X4 and X, the original game, the most is because there's not that much baggage from the other games, and this is the first time it actually has some progression in character progression, which is kind of really dark. Well, it's getting darker than what previous iterations and the Mega Man series itself. But
yeah, actually, Mega Man X was the first Mega Man game that I've ever played.
Yeah.
Tristan, I'm trying to read this, but you're skipping it so fast.
Basically, basically, because I get tired of this because I hate these kind of boxes. It's basically, X and Zero are Maverick hunters. They dispose of the Mavericks that are potentially a harm to humans. And with the Repliforce, they want their independence, as we see in this cutscene, is that they want their independence, but the reason that the Maverick Hunters are after them is because they stated that they will achieve their independence by any means necessary. Which means if they have to do it by force, they will do it. Which is basically Sigma pulling the strings behind the curtain because they don't really care about any theatrical plot whatsoever because you can just see it's Sigma.
Yeah. Any of the X series, most of the time, the main bad guy in it is definitely Sigma.
Yeah.
Which Sigma is kind of like the X equivalent of Dr. Wily.
Yeah.
Sigma is the equivalent of Cobra.
I don't get this voice acting right here. It's kind of funny because he's supposed to act like he's in a really hall.
Yeah. That's another thing I really like about the dubbing is just how cheesy and horrible it is.
Yeah.
In which it doesn't become progressively better until like the late 90's when you have stuff like DBZ and various other animes that do it better.
And Neon Genesis Evangelion, the greatest anime of all time.
It's kind of funny because there's
I was gonna say Cowboy Bebop, but sure.
Nah, I just want to get some Evangelion bashing.
There's one line in X's story that has a worse line with it. There's the infamous line that in the Zero storyline that it's completely funny and made fun of. But in the X story, there's one line that everyone hates it because X has to state in a really monotone voice is, "Why must Reploids bite?"
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh god, that is so wonderfully mid-90s.
Yeah, it has no feeling whatsoever. It's just, "Why must Reploids
That
bite?"
is
Like a
so
robot.
wonderfully mid-90s dubbing.
Well, yeah, we go through all of the Mavericks that we have to face. You can go to anyone, but everyone usually goes to Magma Dragoon because you can.
Wait, you're
basically,
fighting a dragon?
Yes, which has Street Fighter character moves.
Yes, just like in the first X series, X game, in which, if you are able to collect every single item in the game, go over into Armed Armadillo's lair, die 4 times in a row, and then go over into the 5th time and head over to the secret location, you can pick up the Hadouken.
Yeah, but yeah.
So that's pretty much saying, hey bro, you want to be awesome? Die for me.
Well, it's just that if you looked and there was a little there was a little was it a translation error? Technically, in English, the Maverick Hunters are actually called the irregular hunters in Japan. So that's why it threw off most kids at the time, saying they're Mavericks, aren't they? But they call them irregulars. That's some lazy translation right there.
Well, translation in the 90s wasn't top-notch.
Yeah.
This is the same reason in which why Princess Peach was originally called Princess Toadstool and vice versa. What?
Toad.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I know, hilarious.
Well, yeah, the reason why people go after this is because you can cheese the boss fight. Because you can take the ride armor into the boss fight and basically just win that way.
Yes, and unlike
Yo, are
X,
you gonna
in which-
Yeah, I haven't played this in a while.
unlike X, in which he just uses the regular X Buster, Zero has the Z Saber, which means it'll be a lot easier to fight Magma Dragoon.
It's like a hybrid between the lightsaber and the beam saber from Gundam.
Well, it's because unlike X, it's kind of for beginner players. X can fight with the range, but it takes a lot longer to beat the Mavericks without the corresponding weakness weapon. To compensate for that, Zero is a lot stronger and deals more damage than X, and he has a better maneuverability, but he takes a lot more damage than X.
It's similar to in Mega Man 9 and 10, in which when you play as Proto Man, you have the charge shot and you have the slide, however, you take double the amount of damage compared to Mega Man.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Mega Man 9 and 10 coming soon?
Maybe, most likely no.
That's how they did it with was it an X5, where basically they stated right there and then that Zero is for the advanced player and X is for the beginner. And that's basically what it is. And right now I will be trying to get the heart containers.
So on a scale of Mega Man 3 to network transmission, how hard is it?
For first-time players, it can be kind of difficult. For if you're playing as Zero, and Zero does this too. Like they do have the little things they added for the English, which kind of messes up. Where like if he's at yellow health, he will say it's not over yet. But what heart tanks are is basically just increase your life tank. And
so what was that edit?
That it was after a while. I kind of almost died, but I didn't. I was basically farming for health. Because like in every other Mega Man game, you can farm health because if you go off screen and come back, they spawn. And this is why people like going after Magma Dragon first.
Wait, that looks metal.
Yes, and he knows the Hadouken, the Shoryuken, and the Yoga Fire.
Yo, Bandai.
See, that's the Yoga Fire.
Yo, Bandai, give me a model of this. I would totally build that.
And the reason people go after him first is because you can take the ride armor and basically cheese the fight. That's the only reason people go after him first, is you can take the ride armor and cheese the fight. See? And just like that, it's over.
Dang, he almost pwned you.
Because we started this first, and basically like how on all the other X games, you start with nothing, and basically you have to search for heart tanks, E-tanks, and weapon tanks, so you get stronger. The premise of the X series is basically like X couldn't beat something. Oh, and this is fine. Listen to this.
Why didn't you learn Hadouken?
You learn Harinjin, but it's funny because the English announcer doesn't know how to pronounce, Japanese names, so we get this. Oh yeah, and I'm playing on a PlayStation 3. It can play PS1's games.
The more you know.
Yeah, because I was going to spend a lot of money for a fat boy.
Yeah, so was I.
Well, yeah, we'll get to the next time, though. See ya.